Before you go to sleep, have you ever considered the possibility that the things you do might be gradually reducing the length of your life? We are not discussing life-threatening diseases or incidents that were completely unanticipated. Small gestures, such as drinking something before going to bed, taking a medication without giving it much thought, or the temperature in the room, are examples of the kinds of routines that you engage in night after night without analyzing them. And without even being aware of it, you can be driving your body along a road that leads to a gradual decline in conditions. According to the most recent information provided by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 70,000 elderly people pass away while sleeping every single year in the United States alone. What is even more concerning is the fact that a significant number of these fatalities are not only attributable to the passage of time, but rather to dangerous behaviors that occur throughout the night that may be avoided. After the age of 60, the body undergoes modifications. A more sensitive heart, changed respiration, and a slower response from the neurological system are all indications of this condition. Something that was formerly thought to be completely innocuous can suddenly be considered a genuine threat. However, no one will inform you. Nobody informs you that the glass of water you drink, the posture you sleep in, the heavy supper you eat, or the prescription you take before bed might have a direct impact on your memory, your heart, your bones, and your safety while you are sleeping. For this reason, this video is quite significant, mainly due to the fact that we are going to unveil today the 7 nightly behaviors that are the most harmful for older individuals, including one that has become the silent cause of thousands of medical problems. In addition, we are not only going to tell you what to avoid, but we are also going to describe what you should do instead, with steps that are easy to implement and successful, and you may begin doing so in the evening. Welcome to this place. If this is your first time here, this channel is committed to assisting you in living longer, enjoying your health, maintaining your dignity, and gaining clarity. If you want to be sure that you don't miss out on the upcoming advice, make sure to like, subscribe, and activate the bell. Our community is a wonderful place to gather. All right, get ready. These behaviors might not seem like much, but the repercussions of them are quite real. The following is a list of 7 nocturnal blunders that might be detrimental to your health while you are sleeping, as well as strategies for avoiding them. 1. Taking certain medications before sleeping without supervision. A sleeping pill, a pain reliever, something for blood pressure, and getting ready for bed are all examples of drugs that many elderly people take at night as part of their regular routine that they take before going to bed. On the other hand, very few people are aware of the fact that many drugs may be extremely hazardous, even fatal, if they are taken at the incorrect time or without the appropriate medical care. Benzodiazepines, which include diazepam, alprazolam, and lorazepam, are a type of sedative and sleeping medication that we will begin with. Despite the fact that they make it easier to fall asleep, they also slow down the rate at which the respiratory system works, affect the way the brain functions, and raise the risk of disorientation and falls throughout the night. In accordance with the findings of a research published in the British Medical Journal, elderly individuals who make regular use of these medications are at an increased risk of experiencing fractures, disorientation, and even death at an earlier age. That being said, they are not the only ones. A number of medications, including antidepressants, muscle relaxants, and popular painkillers like ibuprofen and diclofenac, have the potential to disrupt the process of deep sleep. In the long run, this causes memory loss, speeds up the decrease of cognitive abilities, and causes organs like the liver and kidneys to become overloaded. Also, drugs for high blood pressure, even though a lot of individuals take them before going to bed, There are rare instances in which this might result in an abnormally low blood pressure throughout the night, which lessens the amount of blood that flows to the brain. Not only does this result in feelings of lightheadedness or fainting, but it also raises the possibility of having a stroke while you are sleeping. In addition, the body of an elderly person processes pharmaceuticals at a slower rate, which raises the likelihood of potentially harmful interactions between different prescriptions. By way of illustration, the combination of a sedative and a painkiller can amplify the effects of both medications, resulting in a collapse. So, what steps can you take to avoid harming yourself? When starting a new drug, you should always check with your physician first. Notify the appropriate authorities as soon as possible if you develop extreme sleepiness, disorientation, or instability. You could inquire about the availability of options that are less harsh or natural, such as herbal teas, warm baths, or breathing exercises. Check your blood pressure on a regular basis and discuss any necessary adjustments with your physician if you are taking medication to treat high blood pressure. Having a tranquil sleep is synonymous with having a safe sleep. Not extra effort to digest drugs that aren't essential, but rather rest is what your body needs. In the comments section, please include the term medicine if you have ever had feelings of feeling weird or disoriented after taking a prescription at night. Your story can serve as a cautionary tale for others, and it can also assist us in developing a community that is more educated and better protected. 2. Ignore snoring, pauses in breathing, or insomnia. There are a lot of individuals who believe that snoring is nothing more than a little irritation, and that it is something that is typical to sleep, especially as people become older. Nevertheless, in actuality, it may be an indication of something that is far more serious. The same is true if you have breathing pauses or frequent episodes of sleeplessness when you are sleeping. At the same time as it is one of the most serious conditions among older persons, sleep apnea is also one of the disorders that is most typically underestimated. When the muscles in the throat relax too much when sleeping, this condition manifests itself. This condition causes the airways to become partially or completely blocked, which results in pauses in breathing that can continue for several seconds. It is possible for it to happen hundreds of times in a single night at times. Every time this occurs, the amount of oxygen that is present in the blood decreases, and your heart needs to work harder to compensate for this lower level. The risk of hypertension, arrhythmias, heart attacks, and strokes is increased as a result of this throughout the course of prolonged exposure. On the other hand, the harm is not yet gone. If you are unable to enter deep periods of sleep, your brain will not recover as it should, which will hasten the process of memory loss, mental confusion, and cognitive decline. It has been demonstrated via research that older persons who suffer from untreated apnea experience a rate of brain aging that is up to 3 times quicker than the average. A significant number of instances are not diagnosed, which is the most concerning aspect. It is believed that over 80% of elderly persons who suffer from sleep apnea are unaware that they have the condition. How can one identify it? Snoring that is loud and occurs frequently, pauses in breathing that are witnessed by another person, waking up with a sense of suffocation, having a headache in the morning, having a dry mouth upon waking up, and experiencing great fatigue throughout the day are some of the usual symptoms. In addition, what steps can you take if you or someone you care about is experiencing these symptoms? Talk to a medical professional or a sleep specialist. The risk can be significantly reduced with the use of therapies such as continuous positive airway pressure, CPAP, breathing methods, weight loss, and alterations to the sleeping posture. Keep in mind that snoring is not always a harmless process. It serves as a signal that the body sends out to request assistance. If you have ever been informed that you snore loudly or that you have had shortness of breath while sleeping, please leave a remark with the word snore in it. This will allow us to know that this message has reached you, and it may also allow you to assist others in paying attention to the issue. 3. Getting out of bed too quickly. Have you ever sat up straight after waking up in the middle of the night and felt as though everything was spinning all at once? Do you feel lightheaded, unsteady on your feet, or like you could fall for a moment? You are not alone if this has occurred to you, and it's more than just a little irritation. It's an indication that anything in your nightly habit could be endangering you. One of the most frequent causes of nighttime falls in older adults is rushing out of bed, which can lead to serious injuries like hip fractures, head injuries, or loss of mobility. The primary reason is orthostatic hypotension, which is a sharp decrease in blood pressure that happens when you get up rapidly after lying down. Blood briefly builds up in the legs and the brain gets less oxygen when you wake up. Dizziness, blurred vision, or even fainting result from this. Orthostatic hypotension in older persons is associated with a markedly increased risk of falls, fractures, and potentially early mortality, according to a study published in JAMA Internal Medicine. The most concerning part is that the majority of these falls happen at night or in the morning, when the body is still adjusting its internal rhythms and blood pressure is naturally lower. The good news is that by making a few easy adjustments, this danger may be decreased. What you can do is as follows. When you wake up, don't spring up. Take a few moments to sit on the bed's edge. Before you get up, wiggle your ankles and feet to increase circulation. Breathe deeply for a few moments before fully standing up. To prevent tripping in the dark, have a nightlight close by. Verify that there are no loose cables, carpets, or other obstructions on your path to the restroom. Wear non-slip slippers instead of going barefoot or wearing plain socks. Additionally, do you use diuretics, blood pressure, or anxiety medications? Consult your physician about whether it might be wise to modify your schedule. Always keep in mind that a tranquil awakening might mean the difference between a safe night and an emergency. Give your body the time it needs to adjust. Safely waking up is another benefit of sleeping. 4. Sleeping in a room that's too hot. It's normal to desire to feel cozy as night falls. In order to protect themselves from the cold, many elderly folks turn up the heat, shut all the windows, and cover themselves with thick blankets. Few people are aware, however, that sleeping in an overly warm atmosphere might endanger your health without you ever realizing it. Sleeping causes the human body's internal temperature to drop. The brain receives this dip as an indication that it's time for a deep sleep. However, this natural process is disrupted if the environment is overheated. Your body puts forth extra effort to remove the heat rather than unwinding. Night sweats, trouble falling asleep, frequent awakenings, and a sense of fatigue when you wake up can all result from this. The repercussions might be significantly worse for people over 60. The body's capacity to control its temperature diminishes with age. Because of this, older persons are more susceptible to the negative consequences of nighttime heat, including cardiac rhythm abnormalities, elevated blood pressure, and dehydration. Older persons who sleep in rooms that are warmer than 21 degrees Celsius, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, experience up to 30% less deep sleep, which is the most restorative stage of sleep, according to a research published in the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry. Memory, the immune system, and the ability of cells to heal are all directly impacted. Furthermore, nocturnal sweats brought on by extreme heat induce electrolyte and fluid loss while you sleep. This can result in persistent dehydration, which thickens the blood and raises the risk of clotting, arrhythmias, and strokes in those who already have a decreased sense of thirst. What temperature is best for safe and restful sleep then? Experts advise maintaining the bedroom's temperature between 15 and 19 degrees Celsius, 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Make use of bedding that is breathable and light, like cotton sheets. Steer clear of extremely thick duvets and electric blankets. Place a few lightweight blankets that you can quickly remove during the night if you are prone to feeling cold. To increase ventilation, you may also keep a window partially open or use a gentle fan. Recall that in addition to being more comfortable, a chilly environment safeguards your heart, intellect, and sleep. Sleeping well depends on how and where you sleep in addition to how much you sleep. 5. Sleeping in a dangerous position. Everybody has a preferred sleeping posture. Some people like to sleep on their side, while others find that they cannot sleep if they are not on their back. Few people are aware, however, that sleeping posture can have a direct impact on heart rate, respiration, and even brain function after the age of 60. Sleeping on your back, known as the supine position, may seem comfortable, but it is one of the riskiest positions for older adults. And why? Because of gravity, the tongue and soft tissues of the throat have a tendency to fall back in this posture, partially obstructing the airways. Even if you are not diagnosed, this is particularly risky if you have sleep apnea or snore. The heart, brain, and overall nervous system may be impacted by recurrent breathing pauses, apneas, brought on by the decreased oxygen supply during the night. A research in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine found that older persons who sleep on their backs are 22% more likely to experience nocturnal cardiac episodes than those who sleep on their sides. And breathing isn't the only thing involved. Because it facilitates the passage of stomach acids up the esophagus, sleeping in this posture also exacerbates acid reflux. Over time, this can harm the inside and raise the risk of aspiration pneumonia or possibly esophageal cancer. Furthermore, lying on your side, particularly the left side, enhances the brain's natural cleansing process and aids in the removal of harmful substances like beta amyloid, which is linked to Alzheimer's disease, according to current studies. Which posture is the safest then? Experts concur. It is best to sleep on your left side. This posture promotes brain health, eases reflux, eases digestion, and increases blood circulation. Making the switch might be challenging if you're accustomed to sleeping on your right side or back, but there are easy ways to make it easier. To maintain the alignment of your spine, place a firm cushion between your legs. To prevent turning as you sleep, place an additional pillow behind your back. Raise the head of the bed if you have reflux. Sleeping effectively involves more than simply shutting your eyes. It also involves adopting a sleeping position that safeguards your health. Making a little adjustment now can save major issues later. 6. Having dinner late at night. Eating something before bed is a reassuring habit for many people, a small reward after a hard day. However, this typical behavior can be more harmful than you think if you're over 60. Our metabolism slows down, digestion becomes less effective, and controlling blood sugar and cholesterol levels becomes more challenging as we age. Your body doesn't have enough time to metabolize the food before bed if you eat dinner late, especially if it's a substantial meal that's high in fat or sugar. Then what? The body is compelled to continue functioning during the night rather than taking a break and rebuilding its organs. Incomplete digestion, stomach reflux, and even heartburn or a heavy sensation when you wake up in the middle of the night might result from this. Deep sleep, which is crucial for cardiovascular health, memory, and the immune system, is also hampered by sleeping on a full stomach. According to studies, eating within 3 hours of bedtime increases the likelihood of experiencing blood pressure issues, acid reflux, and sleeplessness at night. There's more. Blood sugar levels are raised right before bed by late meals, particularly those that include sweets or processed carbs. This can be risky for an elderly person. Insulin surges are the body's reaction, which over time raises the risk of type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, and persistent exhaustion. Additionally, eating supper late can help those with heart issues or hypertension avoid having their blood pressure decrease throughout the night, which is associated with an increased risk of heart attack and stroke. What are you able to accomplish then? Dinner should ideally be lighter and eaten at least 3 hours before bed. Good choices are fish, cooked vegetables, bland soups, natural yogurt, or a handful of almonds. A snack should be something modest, low in fat, and simple to digest, such as whole wheat bread, an apple, or a herbal tea like chamomile. Making minor adjustments to your meal routine can have a significant impact. The body can repair itself, and the heart and brain can rest properly while you sleep without having to digest your food. 7. Drink too much water before bed. Water consumption is beneficial. Actually, it's necessary for maintaining healthy digestion, lubricating your joints, and helping your kidneys flush out impurities. Even something as beneficial as water, however, may become a quiet issue at night, particularly if you're over 60. The efficiency of kidney function decreases with age. The bladder's ability to hold fluids is reduced, and the kidneys filter more slowly. You will thus probably wake up many times during the night to use the restroom if you have a large glass of water, juice, or tea before bed. These overnight awakenings raise your risk of dangerous falls in addition to interfering with your sleep. Consider this. You're half asleep at 3 in the morning, the room is dark, and you hastily get out of bed to use the restroom. You lose your equilibrium, your blood pressure decreases, and you run the risk of falling. You might be surprised to learn how prevalent this situation is. The CDC reports that falls are the primary cause of injuries that result in hospitalization for older persons, and many of these accidents happen during brief restroom breaks at night. Moreover, disrupting restful sleep has detrimental effects. It exacerbates inflammation, impairs memory, and compromises the immune system. It has also been connected to a higher chance of heart disease and dementia. Smart hydration is the answer. Drink plenty of water throughout the day, but begin cutting back in the late afternoon. At least 2 hours before going to bed, refrain from consuming big beverages. Only take little sips of liquids before bed, and stay away from diuretic beverages like coffee, green tea, and citrus juices after dark. Finally, ensure that the route to the restroom is well lit and unobstructed. To allow your body to settle, use motion sensors or night lights and rise gradually. You may lower needless hazards and improve your quality of sleep with little adjustments. Taking care of your life also means getting a good night's sleep. Put the word water in the comments if you've ever woken up many times during the night after consuming too much water before bed. We're curious to discover if this advice can improve and secure your sleep as well. Now that you know these 7 dangerous nighttime habits, don't ignore them. Maybe you have been repeating some of them for years without knowing the harm they cause, but it's never too late to change. Sometimes you just need to adjust a habit to completely transform your rest and protect your heart, your memory, your safety. Sleep is not simply closing your eyes. It is the time when the body repairs itself, the heart rests, and the brain cleanses itself. And if we do not take care of that process, what seems like a normal night can become a silent risk. Small decisions like turning off the light, avoiding a heavy dinner, or changing your sleeping position in time can make the difference between a life limited by fatigue or a life filled with energy, clarity, and well-being. So tonight, when you get ready to sleep, remember, you are choosing to take care of yourself. You are giving your body the opportunity to recover, heal, and live longer with quality. If any of these habits surprised you or made you reflect, write the word rest in the comments. We want to know if this content was useful to you and if you are going to implement any of these changes. Like this video if you learned something new today, subscribe and activate the bell to receive more tips that will help you live better every day. Share this video with a family member or friend over 60 who also needs to improve their health. When you sleep, your body will thank you.